My name is Lucinda Dryden.
My name is Lucy Moroney, and we're running Unit 2, the Laboratory Gardens.
I have a background in visual design. I've been working for about 12 years in the industry, but I take a very interdisciplinary approach to my practice. I've worked in photography, set design, websites, branding, installations, and I've been working across tech startups, advertising, as well as non-for-profits and community projects.
I'm an architect and an artist, and I practiced in the UK for 10 years, and I am now practicing in Sydney. I work in a range of scales and mediums. My practice primarily focuses on the intersection between spatial experience and storytelling through sensory installations. We've been exploring the theme of wilderness, or lack thereof, in the Victorian context. We've been looking at the park being a catch-all phrase that our unit uses for curated or human-formed landscapes.
We've been exploring the theme of storytelling and how when you have that kind of role, you are both considering what you're going to include as well as what you're going to edit out, and how that can really influence the experience of someone going through that story that you've created.
We've been exploring sensory surveying and exploring the lens that we come at to place and how we read it, and how that may influence how we retell those places. So primarily we work with spatial installation as a way to retell these sensory experiences. So we are looking at the tactility, the olfactory, the way that we hear, the way that we listen, the way that we don't have earlids, and what do we filter out already? How do we tap into our attention? So we primarily try to work with the non-visual as a way to immerse an audience into an experience. I think a really interesting thing about Victoria is that it's constantly lauded as the European city, the European capital of Australia. And we really took that as our starting point for the lens of landscape in our unit. We looked at the framing of British first contact here, and how when they came to this place, they identified these beautiful pristine parks, like in their view as an accident. However, it's actually incredibly curated and crafted by a millennia-old culture and body of knowledge. So linking back to the European lens that was looking at the idyllic park as a way to value or prize discovery, I think that is a really interesting link in our unit.
One thing we learned over the course of this unit is how much the 19th century gold rush influenced land clearing in Victoria, especially in terms of transforming the land into your agricultural purposes.
What surprised us most is that it was very difficult to find a piece of pre-1800 cleared landscape that hadn't been touched by agriculture, by the gold mining. We've been looking at the work of Bill Gammage and the biggest estate on earth and how Aborigines formed Australia. And that was really about how there are clues and marks left from very intricate land management systems. I think one thing that we've learned in that time as well is that body of knowledge has been evolving and growing since that time as well. It didn't stand still. However, we did find these places such as the
John Douglas Reserve,
that had these remnants of really rare ground conditions that would have been all over Victoria, that now are just like these rare, spongy moments of earth where they cultivate orchids and ancient growth that would have been managed over a very long time, and it just happened to be missed by hard-hooved agriculture or the land clearing.
Another thing we learned was from a yarn with Uncle Bill of the Wurundjeri people, and he told us that no Australian animals have hard hooves, and that's why there's been such an impact on the soil condition in Victoria since the 1800s.
We had so many incredible guests, experts, people who have learnt to read the landscape in ways that we couldn't have imagined that are just invisible to us. For instance, Bill Gammage teaching us that the way that the eucalypt grows as it's chasing towards the light, it bends as soon as it comes to an obstruction, so it can actually be a record of what used to be there that may have long since passed.
We hope that people will approach landscapes with a different lens. We hope that they'll be thinking about all of their senses when they explore a new landscape. I also hope that when an area is labelled as wilderness, that they will come with an open mind rather than taking that label just as is.
We also hope that people come away with an understanding of the complexity of the landscapes that we see, that it isn't just one hand, it isn't just one culture, it is strata of time, of human hand that has formed and reformed it and continues to form it. And I think we'd really like that idea of what that future element looks like in landscape to sort of be something that resonates with the audience.